Welcome, everybody. I'm Tatiana Barros, and I live in Canada. We'd like to thank you for your participation and express our joy for such a special moment of studying, sharing experiences, and learning about Spiritist education. This event has been organized by the Children, Youth, and Family area of the International Spiritist Council, aiming to strengthen the union and unification of the Spiritist movement for the sake of heart's regeneration and the construction of a new world. The ISC Children, Youth, and Family Area, affectionately called CYFA-ISC, is responsible for promoting the study, practice, and dissemination of Spiritism among children, youth, and families. The CYFA-ISC Commission is currently composed of 13 countries that are working together in an integrated, collaborative, and collective manner in order to put together important actions that we hope will strengthen this blessed and relevant task.
Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Mirella. I'm here in California in the United States. In order to achieve our goals as Spiritist educators, it's essential for us to keep ourselves updated for this task. The Seeds of the Future project is one of the SYFA-ISC actions, which the main purpose is to promote continuing education for Spiritist educators through video lives and workshops. We believe this is a strategic and relevant project for the increasing quality of our actions among children, youth, and families, whether physically at the Spiritist centers or virtually due to the pandemic situation that we're still facing these days. This is a project that started last year, and today we are promoting our 11th youth in gathering dedicated hearts spread across the world, straightening in a common ideal. I hope you
This is,
enjoy the day.
this is the 11th virtual meeting of a program to address different and relevant topics to strengthen this task continuously. Our live event today is about value of life. We are presenting two topics for this roundtable discussion. First, Marcia Trajano, who lives in the US, will talk about meaning and appreciation of life. Our second topic, Valuing Life and the Evangelizing Educational Environment, will be presented by Thiago Leite, who lives in Canada. At the end, we will have a moment for questions and answers. This live, that is in English, has already been developed today in Portuguese and Spanish. We have invited some dedicated colleagues who will share their reflections and experiences according to the different topics.
So now, to open the doors of our hearts, we listen to our friends from BSS Harmony, who will give us a musical harmonization singing the song called GPS of Life, composed by Mauricio Keller, especially for this live. After the presentation, we'll make our opening prayer.
All the purposes we've lived are so genuine and real. They are beacons of existence, facing trials of the destiny. They give strength, they give resilience, they give undeniable courage as a way to value life. Seems so vulnerable at times. Our location must be calibrated every now and then. Our cleaning GPS, overcoming all distractions. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to clear values, dictating all the steps and the choices we should make. Stay away from invitations which are meant to get you sidetracked. Be aware and be self-conscious of the illusions of the ego. Our location must be calibrated every now and then. Our pin and GPS, overcoming all distractions. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. Our location must be calibrated every now and then. Our pin and GPS, overcoming all distractions. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved.
Let's now close our eyes. Let's be connected with God, with our Master Jesus, with the spiritual benefactors who have been working on this project. We also connect with Mei, Amélia Rodrigues, and all good spirits who are committed with the Spiritist education in the world. We thank them for everything, for today, for the fact that we are connected today with so many hard people who are going to the same direction, trying to use the same GPS in life throughout, our evolution. We thank them for these moments, and may we be surrounded by these good vibrations of love and peace throughout the entire event. And may we be connected through our thoughts and hearts so we can strengthen these bonds of love that we have, admiration and respect between workers and educators, parents, everybody who are connected with us at this moment. So we may spread love throughout our feelings, and may we open our hearts, but also our minds, so we can be open to the words brought by Marcia and Tiago today that will enlighten us for sure, and will bring us new insights about how we can become better educators, better parents, better people, and we might learn from this experience today. God, please bless us all, make us, strong together, and I hope we have a very good day of learning love in very good vibrations. So be it. Now I'd like to share some information about Marcia. Marcia Trajano is active in the United States Spiritist community. She's a volunteer with the U.S. Spiritist Federation and has previously worked with the Spiritist Conference, of Georgia, Atlanta Spiritist Videos, and Atlanta Spiritist Radio. In 1997, Ms. Rajani was a co-founder of the Christian Spiritist Community of Atlanta and just recently co-founded the Solitude Center for Spiritual Living. For 25 years, she has lectured to many Spiritist centers in the United States on topics ranging from inner transformation to reincarnation. She has led study groups in different areas such as child and youth education, inner transformation, fraternal counseling, and mediumship education. An advocate for Spiritism in English, Marcia delivers English lectures, facilitates English language study groups, and has performed simultaneous interpretation of Portuguese lectures into English. Professionally, Marcia leads the project management office for Philips Healthcare North America. Um, Marcia, welcome to our event.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get our PowerPoint. All right, here I am. So I just want to say thank you, everyone. I am so, so pleased to be here today. And I'm here especially enthused because we're here to talk about life's meaning and appreciation. And it's all about how do we welcome all the children, our youth, and youth educators in such troubled days, right? So I would like to start with introducing the idea that in the 8th chapter of the Gospel according to Spiritism, we find a particularly important message for all of us, and it's called Blessed are the Pure in Heart, the chapter. And in the message from the Spirit, we find, and I'm going to read it to you here, a very interesting message. They start with saying, "Let the children come unto me, for I have the milk which will strengthen the weak. Let all those who are fearful, feeble, need of help and consolation come unto me. Let the ignorant come unto me, so that I may enlighten them. Let all who suffer come unto me, together with the afflicted and the unfortunate. I will teach them the great remedy which will soften their ills, revealing into them the secret that will heal the wounds. What is this supreme balsam, my friends, which possesses such high virtue that it may be applied to all types of wounds suffered by the hearts and heal them all? It is love and charity." So I'm here to say that we're confronted with the fact that all of us, children, all of us who are pure in heart, but also all of us who are fearful, who are weak, who are ignorant, who are in pain, we're all called to come to Jesus, our older brother, to receive the medicine to heal all of us through love and charity. So let's go ahead and get started with a small discussion here in about what is the value of life, right? So I would like to spend the next few minutes together bringing to you as a student of Joanna DeAngelis. And in her book that was just recently published in English, it's called A Full Life. Joanna DeAngelis tells us that human beings reach the pinnacle of life the moment they can think and understand the purpose related to their being. And it is very interesting to know because Spiritism teaches that the purpose of our lives is to evolve spiritually. And in doing so, there is the call to action to when you involve spiritually yourself, but then you're now ready to improve humanity as a whole. So if we think about it, to reach fulfillment, where Joanna DeAngelis calls plenitude, right? The sense of fulfillment, that holistic life, Joanna DeAngelis Spiritism, and the gospel of Jesus all point us to the notion that we need to slow down. We need to stop and reflect and understand the value of life. And we can do that starting by examining our own lives, our own achievements, and what we still need to do in order to ensure that our experiences are useful in terms of our ethical and moral growth. I hope it makes sense to you, but let's go ahead and keep on going because I would like to bring a topic here that is just not so easy to speak, which is the idea that as vulnerable as we are, mental health awareness is key. And the reason we chose to bring to highlight the teachings by Joanna de Angelis, because she, as you know, in close collaboration with Divaldo Pereira Franco, has devoted decades developing the what we call the psychological collection or the psychology series, a series of 16 books. And even after she closed those sets of books, there have been other books that complement, that still contribute to the idea of a psychological view of our own growth, our own suffering as well. So if you talk about the pains of the soul, right, we want to maybe think about what are our pain points. And they often lead us to guilt, to fear, right? To insecurity. And according to Joanna de Angelis' amazing book, and I would say if I may influence in anything today, is if you haven't read this book, go and get it for you. But the book Existential Conflicts is right in the middle of her psychology collection, right? Joanna de Angelis in the chapter 6 talks about guilt as one of those big 3 points. And she says that guilt is the result of anger. Yes, guilt results from the anger that one feels against oneself, turned inward in the form of feeling that something was done wrong. We could spend hours talking about guilt. We're not, but it's important for us to recognize the trigger points, as I call them, guilt and anger. And I'd like to perhaps just to compound that notion, bring Andre Luis as part of his book Between Heaven and Earth, chapter 23 specifically. He talks about guilt as this breakdown of consciousness and forces that creep in inside of us. So we start to see that guilt is an area that we really need to pay attention. But anger and guilt, right? They have a very strong role in defining all the pains of our soul that we bring inside of us. What is the role of our ego? Joanna de Angelis again reports the ego is responsible for the differentiation that the individual, you and me, are able to achieve between our internal processes and reality. So to blame ourselves for some error, some mistake, some failure, it can lead us to get angry, to feel anger for one biggest reason, which is the threaten that our ego goes through. That, oops, I'm no longer in charge. I'm no longer wonderful. I'm no longer the master. This is the ego talking. I have failed. And as I have failed, this is important for us to think about it. I am now having less or diminished role within the realm of our relationships with myself and my peer group. So it is important that we understand that on one hand, our ego may be quite upset with us when we make mistakes. On the other hand, And again, this is in the framework of Joanna De Angelis psychology series, is the really important prospect that we all have of awakening the self. And what is the self? In so many words, it's the God in us, the inner self, self with a capital S. Before I keep moving, I would just like to bring another attribute to the pains of our soul, which is in the realm of insecurity, right? Because once we are feeling not so secure, we may feel that we're going through this notion of empty or incomplete life, and we feel trapped, as maybe outside looking in, observing others' reactions to us, and defensively trying to organize in a way that those who are outside of us may not perhaps judge us so harshly. So that is from that point perspective that we and this is normal, right? We all create masks or persona, and we become quite good at hiding ourselves, because we don't want people to see our vulnerable self. Good news, the evolving spirit, right? Whenever we think about the pains of the soul, and we really are talking about questions that are directly correlated to existential areas of ourselves, right? Perhaps, why should I want to live? What have I learned, spiritually and psychologically speaking, from my life thus far? And the good thing here is that we are all beautiful, immortal souls, and we are not perfect by any means, but we are perfectible. We are in this long journey toward our perfect happiness. But until then, we grow through our failures. We grow through our vulnerabilities. We grow with our lessons that we learn ourselves. So that's the good news. As youth educators, how can we make a difference? We must learn what to do when we see through the masks of the other and the emotional pain in the other. I just wanted to call out, as we're talking about mental health, right, that in the US specifically, the National Institute of Mental Health, or you can Google by going to nih.nih.gov, they urge us to be prepared to not passively see the pain in the other, the emotional pain in the other, right? So there is a very interesting 5 step, which are: ask, right? Ask, don't be afraid. What is going on? Are you thinking about harming yourself, about killing yourself? There is a lot of research to the matter, right? And the truth is, suicide does not increase when we ask those questions, but it opens the room for the second step, which is keep them safe, right? If I am hurting and I am considering harming myself, what do I need to do? We need to engage in all of those: parents and educators and all of those community members, to remove anything that may lead to self-harm, right? We're talking about guns or any lethal items. Be there is the third and most important step. Just let us all be available in a world that we are so distracted. Let us listen, and listen carefully. Listen with your eyes and your ears and your heart and your smile as well. Listen carefully and learn what is going on, right? Help them, help them connect as needed. There are many crisis lifeline numbers, or 988 for suicide, right? Or the 741 crisis text line number that you can put in your cell phone, in your mobile device, so that you can, the person who is hurting, connect with an individual that is a trusted mental health profession that can be there to help you. And of course, the last step is stay connected, stay in touch after crisis, be there, don't abandon. But as we keep going to another areas, there's still more challenges, right? And I'd like to stop perhaps to maybe reflect upon the fact that not so long ago, we're talking about March 11th of 2020, the World Health Organization um, put COVID-19 into a heightened state of a global pandemic. And if we can think about how life was before then, right? And if we can maybe think about we are okay, and then all of a sudden we were all 100% of the world pretty much had to confront with an unusual roadblock to our well-being, which is the difficulties as biosocial animals having to isolate ourselves, right? We were isolated, we were led to a an environment that is increasingly polarized and divisive, and we're right smack in the middle. So when we talk about this world and this very challenging aspect of our youth, we have to look in terms of what are the so-called dare games, peer pressure, violence, social media, and it is just so very hard to be just who you are today. What are their games? If you think about from a psychological perspective, we are so disempowered in our society. And we can think about jokingly, right? We had to prove who we are, our heroic acts in the past, by perhaps fighting, I'm just kidding here, but fighting a lioness in the savannas of Africa, right? We live in a very different world, and we are still trying to prove, to demonstrate that we're strong, that we have those heroic powers. And our youth, especially, are very vulnerable to be dare to perform very dangerous games currently available at your fingertips. So we must be prepared as educators, as parents, as friends, to discuss the potential harm in each one of those. And I'm just going to give you a sampling here. There is the Tide Pod Challenge, cook or eat a Tide Pod. We have the Cinnamon Challenge, eating a tablespoon of cinnamon in less than 10 and 60 seconds, right? The Kylie Lip Challenge, folks. Let's artificially plump our lips, the salt and ice challenge, the blue whale challenge, the duct tape challenge. There are dozens of challenges, and the younger generation is pushed themselves one to the other to be challenged to see through curiosity, through all of that we are needed to be there. Kids and teens, as you know, have always been susceptible to peer pressure, and the new phenomenon, right? FOMO, the fear of missing out. So if you start to see an exaggerated viewpoint that everybody is doing those challenges, and I too am going to do it, this is a very dangerous point here. If you think about, and I'm going to age myself here, there were double dares of my youth, right? And they all were double dare you to talk to someone that you're have a crush, or you're afraid to talk. And today they are those stunts, and they are just escalating to terrifying challenges like you heard, many of you may have heard the blue whale challenges. In fact, the statistics here is that more than 130 teens have died as a direct result of that challenge. And according to the statistics today, they are the average age of a child playing is 13 years of age, right? And that 96% of these children, when they were found, they were playing the game alone by the time they died. So it is really difficult for us to see this from poisoning, self-poisoning, to all sorts of very uh, uh, crazy ideas, and they're doing this to prove something that may be missing in their lives, which is meaning. So if we start talking about, and I'm really aware of time here, it is our responsibility to protect our children from harm. We need to be very versed in what those challenges are, and to warn them of their potential dangers, but also teach them strategy for dealing with the other difficult situations that we may be trying to move away, right? So, how do we do this? We do this by gaining our children's trust, by being open, by being honest, by being present, by encouraging them to open up whenever they're feeling conflicted. And we do this by modeling those behaviors. When we are conflicted, let us also be very open about how we're feeling. And it's so important for us to see that they're not alone, right? It is important to encourage them to stop, to think that they can do anything and there may be no impact. I'd like to close my thoughts today by just bringing the idea, and that's the very important, relevant, and very urgent message for our children, that we are immortal beings. We choose our life on earth. No matter how successful we are in a material lens, we all share the same. We all carry pain and suffering. We carry our afflictions. And it is important for all of us to decide to be happy and be decisively committed to work. And the work has to do with something very interesting, which is inner inner discovery, serving others, growing, following the laws of progress, connecting with one another, but most importantly, connecting with our divine. And I would like to leave here with two things. First of all, let us invite our youth to trust, right, in this commitment to be part of a beautiful experience we call life. And I don't have more time, but to invite you to the read the poetry by Pablo Neruda that talks about dying slowly. But with that, I want to say thank you so much and look forward to talking to you more at the Q&A session.
Thank you, Marcia. I'm now presenting Tiago, who is a member of the Canadian Spiritist movement, currently serving as the president of the Canadian Spiritist Council. He also is a member of the communication area of the International Spiritist Council. Tiago contributes to various Spiritist initiatives within the Allan Kardec Vancouver Society in Vancouver, Canada, where he engages in public speaking and facilitates study groups, ranging from youth education to exploring the works of the spirit Joana de Angelis. He also supports the Ivone do Amaral Pereira project, which provides assistance to individuals grappling with moral challenges such as depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. Beyond his involvement in the Spiritist community, Tiago brings his passion for global outreach to his professional life. He manages globalization initiatives at an e-commerce platform, extending its solution to diverse countries and languages. Tiago, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today to be able to speak a little bit about valuing life. Let me just share my slide here so you can all follow my thoughts, our thoughts, Spiritism's thoughts. Just a moment. Let me just very quickly just get the link so I can get some technical assistance here because I've not been able to share it through the platform. There you go. Perfect. Thank you so much. So yes, today we embark on this exploration on this very important topic for all of us, which is valuing life in the evangelical, in the educational environments, something that we are, especially during these times where the world is going through so much, it is very important that we talk about this. So if you move on to the next slide, where we're going to talk about our journey, right, with Spiritism, through like this experience that we all go through, and thinking of Spiritism as the promised comforter, this philosophical, this spiritual movement that emerged in the 19th century with the mission of teaching us all things, with the mission of reminding us of what Jesus once taught us. So, Spiritism, what is the Spiritism? What is the promised comforter? As we can see in the quote, the promised comforter, according to Jesus, is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name. He shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. So, Jesus promised that in the right time, in the right moment, we all were going to see, to receive this comforter who was going to help us navigate through this challenging times that we are all going through. So, in order to fulfill this mission, Spiritism unveiled the spirit world, showing us through various facts based on rational faith that we are indeed immortal spirits, the intelligent beings of God's creation, as we can see, as we can learn with Allan Kardec's Spirit's book. Our individual existences, they never come to an end, as it is very clear in question 83. So we are a product of love. We have been created by our Heavenly Father, simple, ignorant, without knowledge, with a mission to fulfill in the various degrees of the hierarchy we reside. And this law, it applies to all spirits ever created by God. So our goal is perfection. We're all going to get there, according to the spirits in question 115, where we will find, in their own words, we will find eternal bliss without any troubles. But we have a path until we reach that point. So this perfection, this knowledge, it is only acquired through what we call reincarnation, an important learning cycle in our path, which will only come to an end once we are free from our imperfections. This is the law. However, the same spirit guides, they mention something very interesting, that we will only get there if we experience the trials imposed by the divine providence. These trials, they regulate the universe. They ensure that we are all moving towards this common goal. And reincarnation is the means to reach such a destination. Some of us, we humbly accept these trials, therefore arriving more quickly at our destiny, whereas others cannot endure them without complaining or rebelling against them, which is the majority of us here on the earth. We tend to complain, we tend to rebel, we tend to go against these divine laws. It's like we're going against the flow. So some of us dream about living a life with no challenges. Some of us dream about having a life where we don't have to put too much effort into our daily actions, aiming for almost a neutral existence, forgetting that such a lifestyle may lead us to a painful path as we distance ourselves from our inner nature. What is our inner nature? Of immortal spirits that we all are. So this is a fact, whether we like it or not. This is something that the spirits teach us constantly. We are all here to learn, to grow, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to face challenges, right? So, as a product of love, we carry within our spiritual DNA, if we can call it that way, we carry some important marks of our Creator. These marks, they need to be nurtured. They need to be uh, experienced in certain ways, because otherwise we'll feel a sense of emptiness. We'll feel like our existence, it has no meaning. We will struggle then to understand life better. So we will face the pains that we all see in the world today: depression, suicidal ideation, anxiety, no purpose. Thanks to the various spirits who are committed to the cause of enlightening us, humankind, we have received many, many messages. And these messages, they reinforce the importance of moral education as a way for us to get closer to our essence and to walk the right path. A path that is for sure not free of challenges, but a path where we will, step by step, feel the presence of our Creator through what Spiritism calls opportunities for growth. Despite differences in theological doctrines, a common ground is found in the reverence for life as a divine gift. Life, therefore, is not a static entity, but a dynamic and evolving process in our existence. Life is a chapter of many, many others. So, education here is not confined to the acquisition of knowledge. It becomes a holistic endeavor aimed at nurturing the character of individuals, fostering virtues that transcend the boundaries of culture. As history has proved, we have seen many, many individuals with great intelligence, bright individuals, but so empty of character, empty of virtues, because they chose not to nurture them, or were raised in such a way that they simply ignored that they were worthy of developing virtues. If culture doesn't touch the heart and propel it to move, it becomes a simple ornament. In the Spiritist educational environment, the classroom transforms into a space where the journey of the soul, it is reflected in the journey of learning. So children, they are not mere receptacles of information, as we can see in that slide. They are evolving spirits with a very, very long story on an odyssey toward moral and intellectual enlightenment. Character development, it takes center stage with the goal of what? Of molding individuals who embody dormant qualities. They're all there. They need to be nurtured. So they embody these qualities such as compassion, empathy, sense of responsibility toward the collective journey of humanity, because they have been instructed on their responsibilities before returning to this planet. So what do we need to do? We need to remind them of that. We need to bring that to their attention. So as the spirits who have been through a lot, having lived centuries after centuries of experiences here on Earth and even other planets, they carry their share of accomplishments, but they also carry their share of failures. They carry their struggles, they carry their pain. So when we look into those eyes that are so adorable to us, and there's a reason for that, it's in the Spirit's book. When we look into those eyes, we should not ignore that we are handling spirits who may be more experienced than us, spirits who are in need of love, spirits who are in need of discipline, and most importantly, spirits who are in need of moral education. As parents, guardians, spiritist educators, or spiritist centers, we have the moral duty to provide these spirits with the right tools to help them develop and grow. Not materialistic speaking, not only materialistic speaking, but as moral persons that we all should be. We need to enable them to appreciate life, the life of the immortal spirit, and see and find within themselves the purpose of existing, finding within themselves the answer to why am I here? What am I doing here on earth right now at this very moment, going through everything that I'm going through, experiencing all these challenges? God is all love. He is the source of love, of all the good that there is in the world. He created the universe. How can God set up ourselves for failure? It doesn't sound right. God sets us all for success. But as we said, in order to get there, we need to experience some challenges. The same way as we go to school and we have all those years to learn, we are tested. So we need that until we reach like that stage where we go to university and get our PhD and so on. But we need to go step by step. So we see many people worrying about not being ready for the task of educating souls, of educating people. But to talk about moral values, we don't have to have a PhD in Spiritism or be pure spirits. That's not what Jesus said. Jesus said, the healthy do not need a doctor, but the sick do. So we are these people that need this doctor. We need the medicine. And what is this medicine? It's moral education. It's the gospel. So we find ourselves in need of consolation, and Jesus has provided us with the opportunity to transform, to change through our work in his vineyard, through work. Each one of us received this glorious opportunity to work for Jesus, to support his mission of transforming this planet from trials and expiations into a regenerative world and then into a happy world in the future. We can all work towards that goal. So the essence of Jesus and Spiritism as the promised comforter, it lies in simplicity. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Jesus, he led a very simple life. He delivered his teachings through simple conversations, storytelling, rooted in profound moral lessons. Today we have these teachings, look at that, organized, structured, all compiled in amazing books called Allan Kardec's Spiritist Codification, the foundational works which sets the grounds for all the other amazing books that we have the opportunity to study through the mediumship of Chico Xavier, Divaldo Pereira Franco, and so many others. Often we see highly evolved spirits, including Joanna de Angelis, saying in their works that they're not bringing anything new. They are simply establishing their work based on Jesus' teaching on that particular topic they're addressing. So they're just doing what Jesus said over 2,000 years ago. The promised comforter is going to remind you on the things that you chose to forget. Because we chose back in the day that materialistic path. We chose the most challenging path. So even a simple quote from the gospel can work wonders in our lives. Even if we know a simple quote that is not so simple, such as, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself, and the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. This is in Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 40. Isn't it something? It is quite something. In the words of the Spirit, André Luiz, work appears when the worker is ready. So let us strive to change this fixed mindset that we are not capable of educating people, educating souls, of transforming anybody, including ourselves. Let us embrace the wonderful opportunity that God has given us in this very moment, because we don't know about the next life. We don't know the conditions where we're going to return. So let us embrace this very moment, the opportunity to educate souls. We have yet, my friends, we have yet to fully comprehend the impact of such a shift in behavior in our lives. If this is our best version now, let us make it even better. So, Spiritist education in both the Spiritist center and in the home, what is it like? What it should be? It should be a guiding light in navigating the complexities of all the moral dilemmas through various Spiritist topics in a language, of course, our children can understand, preparing them for the challenges of youth and adult life, preparing them for these challenges. So Allan Kardec shows us the way as the mission of Spiritism to show us the path, show us the way, guide us. So he does that in each one of his books. But let's talk about the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 5. He says that believers know that life goes on indefinitely beyond the grave, although in other conditions, but it goes on. And according to him and the spirits in general, this is an important preservative against suicide. So Spiritist education, it instills a profound sense of unity, brotherhood, recognizing that collective well-being is intertwined with spiritual growth. In this context, the educational community becomes a source of strength where individuals, they find comfort, they find encouragement to face what? To face the challenges of the life's journey. Still in chapter 5 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, Kardec says that staying calm about life on earth and having faith in the future. Do we teach our children to have faith in the future? Because it can help protect against insanity and suicide, in his words. And that should be at the core of our lessons, fostering an atmosphere where the essence of spirituality, the reverence for life, the pursuit of knowledge, they merge into a harmonious symphony. So we must establish a system based on, of course, Allan Kardec's foundational works. There is no Spiritist education without these foundational works, and therefore without Jesus. How can we guide someone to become a moral person if they disregard, if they ignore the divine law and overlook the principle that for every action there is a reaction? As mentioned in question 625 of the Spirit's book, Jesus, he is the perfect standard that God has offered to humankind as a guide and as a model. So he is our guide and model. Have we been talking about Jesus, about his work in favor of life? Because if we look at his trajectory on earth, his work was in favor of life. He showed us that we are not alone. He introduced us to the loving God. He showed us what truly means to fully trust God. He helped us see the light at the end of the tunnel. In his words, are not two sparrows sold for a penny? Yet, not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. Not one of them. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. This is in Matthew chapter 10, verses 29 through 31st. So Jesus emphasizes here God's care for each individual across the universe. We're not even talking about Earth only, but throughout the universe, highlighting the intrinsic value of each person, each being in the universe. Come to me, he said, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Also in Matthew chapter 11 now, verses 28 through 30. So Jesus here encourages those who are burdened to find rest in him, suggesting a compassionate, a supportive approach to life's challenges. He is with us. He's by our side. We have the option, because it's all about choice. We have the option to connect with him through our thoughts, through our prayer. But most of the time, unfortunately, we choose not to, because we are so distracted by our surroundings, mostly materialistic, that we forget Jesus. But he's always there for us. So the spirits, they tell us that if a good moral education teaches us the law of God, if a good moral education teaches us the law of God, we will not fall into the excesses that often lead us to ruin, that lead us to fail, to pain. How many times, my friends, do we see children losing the will to live? Sometimes because they are so used to getting everything they want. When they reach a certain point in their lives and see this is not how life works, what happens? They get frustrated. They struggle to navigate life. They no longer see a purpose in life. If we look at the Spiritist Review of 1864, Allan Kardec shares an interesting story, which I don't plan on telling here on its entirety, but just capturing its essence. He shows that in acts that seem simple, that seem quite innocent to our eyes, we may be promoting selfishness. We may be promoting indifference to life, causing a profound impact on the spirit. Kardec shows us how certain flaws as selfishness can be and are often nurtured from childhood due to inadequate educational practices. An example is given of a family trying to correct the minor flaws of what he says it's their spoiled daughter. They use methods that, according to themselves, the parents, aim to teach generosity. However, Kardec says that instead of fostering the joy of acting as moral persons, these teachings, these methods, they impose sacrifices as punishments. So he gives the example here of what happened there. How many times at the table do parents tell a child they won't get a treat if they cry? Do this or do that, they say, and you'll get ice cream or anything else they desire. In today's world, we can say the iPhone, iPad, I this, I that, the video game. the child complies, not for rational reasons, in his words, but to satisfy a sensual desire they, parents, guardians, stimulate. It is even worse when they say, which is not less frequent, that they will give their portion to another child. Here is not just about indulgence, it's about envy, says Kardec. Because the child is, of course, is not gonna want them to give that away. So they're gonna eat. They're gonna keep it so the other cannot have it. So what are we teaching them? So what our dear Spiritist educator Allan Kardec says is that we need to tackle the moral flaws from the very beginning. And Spiritism can play a crucial role here. According to him, Spiritism has already proven its effectiveness through the most rational methods employed in the education of children in true Spiritist families. True Spiritist families. The new horizons opened up by Spiritism, they changed the way we perceive things, since its goal is the moral progress of humanity. It must necessarily shed light on the serious problem of moral education, the first source of what? Of mass, collective moralization. So, how do we expect our children to appreciate the value of life when we are instructing them, when we are teaching them, when we are showing them how to behave in a certain way that they need? They only see the materialistic desires. Are we engaging in conversations about spiritual objectives, spiritual goals with them? Do we promote, for example, the healthy habit of prayer? How do we want our kids to value their own existence and feel loved? If you are teaching them from an early stage with a simple thing to write, that we will find another deserving child or person of that delicious meal or whatever they want. We have a moral duty to these spirits. If they are in our lives somehow, be it at the home or in the Spiritist center, we do have a responsibility. We do have the mission, which is help build their moral grounds. God makes no mistakes. This, according to the spirits, is a sacred mission for which we will be held accountable. And most of the time, my friends, we asked for this opportunity. We know about our past in the spirit life. When we're there in the spirit world, we know some of our story. We understand that we need to improve in certain areas. We know about our excesses that led us to pain. So we ask for these kinds of opportunities, where at the same time we think we're teaching them something, we're learning much more. That said, it is important to engage with our children, to encourage them to join the gospel in the home activities. Oh, they're too young for that. Or, oh, they're at that stage where teenagers, they get bored. But let's think of ways on how to engage, how to get their attention. Why do they get bored? Have we ever wondered? It could be our train of thought, the way we're thinking. Because our thought, it projects. Our thought creates. So if we think that they'll get bored or they're not going to want to participate, they're going to receive that thought. And of course, they're not going to want to participate because we're projecting that. So instead of thinking in a negative way, let's find ways on how to have them joining our gospel in the home activities, having them experiencing the Spiritist education classes. Let's think of on ways on how we can have them to actively participate in the Spiritist Center. But we need to lead by example. We also need to be more proactive and less passive when it comes to our moral education, so our kids can help prepare the center for its services, get water, say a prayer, welcome people. There are many ways to support. As people who are responsible for these spirits in the early stages of their new incarnation, let us remind them that they are loved. They are here to work in their moral improvement, to progress, and that things don't always go their way, our way. But it's okay because God has a plan for each one of us, and He has given us a powerful tool named Spiritism to guide us during moments of uncertainty, during these challenging times that we're going through, to remind us that we will reap what we sow. So, the application of Spiritist principles within evangelical educational settings demands a commitment to open dialogue, mutual respect, and a willingness to learn from diverse perspectives. It invites educators to forge pathways where the sacred nature of life, it is not just a philosophical concept, but a lived reality that permeates every aspect of the educational journey. So, my friends, may the reverence for life be not just topics of speech, but guiding principles in our spiritual journey. So we end with this quote that we found very interesting. That's in the Gospel according to Spiritism. Remember that during your trial on earth, you have a mission that you cannot doubt, whether in dedicating yourself to your family or whether in fulfilling the various obligations that God has entrusted you. Each one of us has a mission. And the spirits say, during this time on the earth, we may see challenges, we may go through difficult times, but they invite us to be strong and courageous, to accept the challenges that are here to make us grow towards a glorious future. So, to Spiritism, to Jesus, our gratitude. And that is it for today, my friends.
We thank our presenters who with so much dedication brought us important reflections about the topics. And at this moment, we'll begin our roundtable, and we have a question. There is a combination for both of you, so you feel free to
Okay.
answer it. So, Marcia, we reminded us that the spirit Joanna de Angelis explains guilt comes from anger. Tiago reminded us that sometimes as Spiritist educators, we don't feel we are ready for the task, although Jesus taught all of us with so much simplicity. So is the question. How can we, as Spiritist educators, can fight against the guilt of not feeling we are ready for this task?
You are on mute. We can't hear you.
Let me go ahead and get started because I love it. I love it, Tatiana. Guilt, when we start talking about guilt, and that book that I mentioned to you, Existential Conflicts, has a whole chapter on guilt that is a must for everybody to read and be acquainted. This is not for the faint of heart. For example, right? If let's pretend here, I'm trying to pick up a scenario, but me and my coworker, we are trying for the same promotion, right? If I get the promotion, I may not feel as guilty that I may feel guilty that the other person did not get it. But if I allow the other, I feel guilty because I am hurting myself, right? Same thing for the youth educators. There's always this guilt of, am I as prepared as we are? Guilt, according to Joanna D'Angelo, and this is beautiful topic, by the way, there are many types of guilt, but one that is really essential for all of us to think about it, which is healthy guilt. Guilt as the trigger mechanism that will push us to think about, what is my failure? What are the areas that I need to do better, right? And if failed someone or something, including ourselves, then it pushes to the healthy guilt, which is, let us um, get into the steps to repair what was wrong by me, by the children, by my youth education program, so on and so forth. So let's always think about, we can never escape guilt, none of us. And if you say you don't feel guilt, I'm saying then you're a psychopath. You have no empathy, and you have a fragmented ego. You don't have a guilt, but all of us feel guilt. The question is, let us not stay stuck in the guilt. Let us move on to repair and to overcome whatever the challenge may be. Tiago, what do you think?
I agree. That's something that we talk about. I talk about that a lot with Tatiana because yeah, um, we do have like this guilt. We sometimes we feel like we're not ready. Like I was talking in the presentation, right? We feel
Mhm.
like we're not ready for this, not ready for the challenge, but we have been, trained for that. We forget that we spend some time in the spirit world studying before this incarnation, learning on how we can, be better workers of Jesus, because that's our goal. That's our ultimate goal on this planet. Whether we are Christian or not, whether we think about Jesus or not, we are in a planet where he's the mentor of this planet. So we're all here working for him, working for
Mhm.
this common goal of regeneration, of transformation, right? So it's a matter of us accepting this challenge. And like you said, you talked about guilt, how many times we are stuck because of feeling guilty. We don't want to go ahead because, oh, I have this, I've done so many wrongs in my past, or even now, like I'm not a good person, I'm not perfect enough. So we
Mhm.
keep like it's so easy for us to list all the things we're not capable of achieving or doing. Isn't it an excuse maybe for not getting that done? Are we trying to somehow not, in a very conscious way, but somehow run away from that challenge that initially we wanted, but now we're scared of? So it's, like these are some of the thoughts that we have, but the spirits tell us, like what Andre Luis says really, touches me most of the time. Like when the worker is ready, work appears when it's
Yes.
ready. So if we have been granted with that opportunity, it's because we are ready. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to do it to get things done, right?
May I add something else, Tiago? Because
Yes.
you start talking about escape mechanism, right? Rationalizations or shine away are all, our mind is a wonderful thing. We are master of trying to protect this famous ego, right? But one of the things that I was thinking here is the fact that it is often the ego that we're is trying to protect itself by shying away and creating those escape mechanism for not doing the work, right? When the work is ready, the worker will show up, right, as you said, Tiago, and vice versa. The funny thing is, oftentimes we shy away from doing something because we're afraid of not looking the best, or we're afraid that we're going to be, I don't know, disempowered, or whatever the reason may be, that will not show as we are able to do it amazingly well, because our ego wants us to always look our best. So it's very interesting if you think about it. What you said is spot on, Tiago.
Yeah, if I hear what you're saying, it sounds almost like a self-sabotage kind of process, right? People prefer to not accept responsibility, just move away so they don't take the risk of failing, right? And then they can hide
Correct.
themselves with
Yeah.
other responsibilities and just move forward, but could be like I'd say self-sabotage, right? Kind
And
of.
we're masters at that, Mirella. We are
Yeah, yeah.
masters of and we don't know until later, right? We go back like, oops, look what I've done. So it's all about it's okay to fail, it's okay to justify, but go back to why didn't I accept the challenge, right? It's in the questioning of why we have chosen this or that we find ourselves the strength and the courage to overcome next time.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
just like, look at Jesus' apostles, right? They were not perfect beings. They all had their moral flaws. They all had
Yeah,
their challenges, but they
Right.
all managed to conquer their own selves in the name of Jesus, right? In the name of His word.
absolutely. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Tiago, again, just to complement your thought, Paul of Tarsus or Saul at the time, what would have happened to him if when at the road of in the road to Damascus, right? He falls from the horse and he's aware of everything he's done, and he was the best of the best, right? But
Yeah,
all the things that he's done, on one hand, if he had stayed with guilt, or on the other hand, now that he moved, he went in a 180-degree different, opposite direction from what he was doing. If he I don't know if I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to do. No, he just did it. He he pushed himself wholeheartedly to the new mission. So I think Paul, if nothing, if anyone else, Paul we all should have a little photo of Paul. Hey, if he did it, I can do it too.
About Pedro, huh? The
Yes,
same with
Pedro.
Pedro.
Yeah, yeah.
we
Peter's
all
That's it,
talked
huh?
about Paul. Yeah.
yeah.
Tati, we have like less than 5 minutes left. Do you think I can ask another question for this?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we are gonna be following the same format, like round table. So at this time, I'm gonna ask Tiago, Marcia. After that, then you can just share your thoughts, and then
Sure.
can have a nice conversation about it, right? So the first one here is Tiago. How can we encourage the search of meaning and purpose in life of children and young people today, given the evident distractions? And I think you mentioned something about it. Social
Yeah.
and technological they face in their daily lives, considering the materialistic perspective of the world. How can they find like meaning in life, in purpose in life, even though they are surrounded by all these distractions and iPads, iPhones, and in this materialistic perspective of the world.
Yeah, this is also something we often discuss, and we talk about how it's not that easy to be, a young person in this day and age. Like 20 years ago, things were so different. We didn't have all this technology that we have today, social media and all these distractions. So kids can get distracted very easily these days, right?
Mhm.
So what we do is that try to be more proactive. Like we we get that sometimes they may get bored, like we talked about, but we try to present it in a way that this is an exciting thing for them to learn about. We use a lot of art, for example, here in our center. We engage them through artistic activities like plays, like music, videos. We've recorded podcasts and things like that, help getting them to help with social media. Like I said, getting them to be more active, more like feel like they're contributing to the center, contributing to spiritism dissemination, helping us somehow. They like that feeling that they're helping to build something good, something great. They like that feeling. Yeah.
May I add something else? And it's more theoretical than the practical, Tiago, and all. But interesting enough, and this is peppered throughout Joanna DeAngelis' work, but specifically, The Integral Human Being is an amazing book. Joanna DeAngelis, is quite stern, right? When she talks about the movement, the real me is the one that says I am, right? I am da 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 da. And we somehow in a very consumer capitalist society, Western world, we have become to now I have. Wait, it doesn't end here. Now, because of social media, and Joanna, it's surprisingly because she writing this 20 years ago that we move from I am to I have to I seem. And the I seem is the distraction, right? It's that mask. It's social media, and she's very specific. She talks about, interesting enough, concepts like maybe I'm an influencer, maybe I'm a follower, maybe, and there's a third category, I'm an original, right? I'm an original thinker. I don't influence, I don't follow. And she brings up in that book traps about being either. In order to belong, we stop being authentic, and that's the problem, because regardless of what social context we are, for us to be our true selves, for us to be authentic, and this is what evolving spirits all are, right? We're in toward this road toward individuation. And as individuating, evolving spirits, we will never truly belong. Never. If we are individuating, means that whatever society that we're part of, whatever family that we're at, all of those external pressures that makes you be a certain type of person with a certain type of behavior, the evolving spirit that is individuating gets out of it, therefore is an outcast. And interesting enough, going back to our old the earlier question here, Mirella, is the fact that when we are this outcast, it triggers guilt. So this was it. Guilt is everywhere, but it's important for us to understand that it is okay. It is okay to be different. It is okay. We should celebrate that authenticity, but it takes a lot, yes, a lot of courage, right? And we as parents, we as educators, we should be able to talk to each and every one of our children and our youth about the preciousness of their authenticity, of their true selves, and also talk about how it takes courage. Because, and I would say, if I were the person doing working with the children, I would say, let's look at history, right? If I go back 50 years ago, I would behave very differently. I would dress very differently. I would speak differently to be okay, accepted. And so, as immortal spirits, even the best of the best of the best today will become obsolete tomorrow. Entertainers, right? Politicians, the best singers, and all this. It's like this. They climb all the way up in this I seem the mask to the peak, and within a day they may be already discarded. So we need to have courage and we have strength to be authentic, to have to be that accepting of our path as an individuating, evolving spirit.
Marcia,
Mhm.
if I got it right, so you're saying that maybe teenagers and even many people, they're trying to fit in, they're trying
Yes,
to belong, and they're following what everybody's doing, and then they're losing their identities, right?
yes,
And
yes,
their essence, and then getting a
Yeah.
little bit lost, and with that, losing the meaning of life, right? And purpose that they have in life.
Yeah.
That
Beautifully
makes
said. Thank you. Thank you, Mirella. Yes.
you both. That was very enlightening. I mean, your words, Tati, should
We
be
have a last question.
Okay.
In a few words, using Spiritist teachings, what would you say for a child or a young person who has been experiencing depression, anxiety, or other feeling that is not in accordance with the value of life? It's for Marcia and Tiago, both of you.
Okay. Tiago, do you want to go ahead and get started? In a few words.
Something that makes an impact definitely is to tell them they're not alone, that we are in
Yes.
this together.
Yes.
We are here for you.
Yes. Beautifully said. I think it's all about valuing and appreciating life. And to do this, we need to learn self compassion, right? We need to learn to be kind to ourselves and to others, to forgive. And I think one way that we can do this is to, I think, Tiago, you're spot on with that sense of humanity. We are all wanting to belong because we're biosocial animals, but we are part of the larger group, this we call humanity, and we're not alone. We're all going through some things, so it's very hard. But self-kindness, right, is when we allow ourselves to listen to our inner voice, and we can practice self-kindness to just say, am I being that super inner critic, or am I listening and I'm going to understand and take care of myself? And I don't know how old this person is, Tati, but would I talk to a 3-year-old the same way that I'm talking to myself? Let us be kind to ourselves. Let's practice self-compassion. Right. I think it's so important for us to be gentle, to be loving, and to understand that we are not alone. We're all of us going through some pain points that makes life not so easy.
okay. So, wow. Okay, so I think we are getting close to the end of the event,
Mhm.
and once again, thank you so much, everybody who was able to join us today. Thank you, Marcia and Tiago,
Thank you.
for the
Thank you.
beautiful presentation. That was awesome. I can tell that. And so may our hearts be fulfilled with joy and in love and peace and gratitude, right? Mainly this week of Thanksgiving week,
Yes.
and just be, full of motivation and good vibration, so we can persevere in this task and move forward in this work of, spiritist education with children, youth, and families. So um, may our dear Jesus, be with us, motivating us, guiding us today, always keeping us united, right, in this task. And God bless us all. So, Tati, can you please conduct the final prayer for us?
Sure. So we
Okay.
invite everyone to close their eyes at this moment and feel that our hearts are connected. And at this special moment, we just want to say how grateful we are. Dear Jesus, here we are feeling all this gratitude for all the opportunities that we had during this year to become better spirits. And for this moment with our friends, talking about and reflecting about such an important topic. At this moment, dear Jesus, with all the gratitude that we feel in our hearts, we ask you that your love can be felt for every children, young people, families, in our planet that at this moment are experiencing depression or any kind of feeling that is not in accordance with value of life. We are grateful for your love, and we are grateful for all these hope vibrations that we feel in our hearts at this moment. May all the reflection we had in this live session can be spread to other Spiritist educators in our Spiritist centers, with our kids, our teenagers. May our hearts be fulfilled with strength, with perseverance with this task, and may we can walk with you during this journey. Thank you so much, dear Jesus. May you bless all of us. So be it.
So be it.
So be it.
All the purposes we've lived are so genuine and real. They are beacons of existence, facing trials of the destiny. They give strength, they give resilience, they give undeniable courage as a way to value life. Seems so vulnerable at times. Our location must be calibrated every now and then. Our plane and GPS, overcoming all distractions. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. We're connected by the doctrine, by its permanent clear values, dictating all the steps and the choices we should make. Stay away from invitations which are meant to get you sidetracked. Be aware and be self-conscious of the illusions of the ego. Our location must be calibrated every now and then. Our pin and GPS, overcoming all distractions. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. Our location must be calibrated every now and then. Our pin and GPS, overcoming all distractions. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Incarnation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved. Feel the Master Jesus so close to you, right by your side. Valuation is a brand new chance to love and to be loved.